ask ourselves, which sector have we delivered? Is it the educational sector? Is it healthcare? Is it infrastructure? Because we still remain a corporate entity doesn't mean we're not a failed state, because we're not meeting. If you fail to meet the aspirations of your people, then you failed your people. You're a failed state, right? Usually when we talk of failed states, the country that comes to mind is Somalia and stuff like that. Yes, they may be a failed state, but they're still a corporate entity. They're still members of the United Nations. They still have a government. They have police. They bomb themselves every other day. But guess what? Guys, we're living in a fool's paradise. We here in Lagos are cocooned from the reality of Nigeria. Take a trip to Borno State, because you're as strong as your weakest link, right? If you go to parts of the north, parts of even where the oil is being produced and all that. 2 weeks ago, I was talking to Ike Mokwed and Aliko Dangote. Aliko said to me that he saw a young chap, barely 5 or 6 years old, and he called him up and said, Inababa. Inababa means, where's your father? And the chap looked at him. He didn't understand the concept of fatherhood. He's in the IDPs. We've cocooned thousands of people there. There's no hope. There's no future for them. All they do there is just breeding. No mother there can really point out who the father of that child is. But that's another story. Reality is that we're more interested in the politics than the economics, right? And if you don't get the economics right, then governance goes out of the way. I'm listening to competitiveness. You can't be competitive when you're not productive. So the first thing is, how do we get productive? Let's take the simple things. This is a nation that flares 2.5, or used to, until recently, flared 2.5 billion cubic feet of gas a day. And we did that for over 30 years. Today, they say we're flaring 750 cubic feet of gas that we've reinjected it and all that. But why are you reinjecting the gas? Gas is energy. You're flaring it. Why don't you clean it up, pipe it, distribute it to every nook and cranny of this country, and let that be a subsidy to industry? Kano used to be the second largest industrial center after Lagos. Kano is dead. Why? No energy. But you're flaring gas. That's energy. The same country that liquefies this gas and sends it abroad to earn income. What do you think that they're doing with the gas you send abroad there? It's the same energy they're looking for. So let's call a spade a spade. We are dumb. Is there any white guy here? No. Okay. If I were a white guy, I would never believe I'm equal to you. That's the truth. Because it's not an award. Just because we walk on the streets, we breathe the same air, we have limbs and all that, doesn't mean equality. Even chimpanzees walk, they breathe and all that. Because it is stupid. You flare the gas. But some other folks come and tell you, hey, give us this gas, we'll pay you for it. And you're happy to say you're in train 1, train 7, we're in train 9 of the gas, but you're flaring yours. So why not it will cost us $5 billion to build pipelines that would ensure that there's gas. 5,000, it's about $1 million per kilometer. 5,000 kilometers of pipelines around this country. Wherever you are, you're not far from gas. And that, believe me, give the gas free for industry. If you're going to grow this economy at 15%, you've got to do some very radical things. The second thing is this. Here you are with incredible unemployment ratios, and interest is 30%, 25%. Are you mad? You don't want to grow the economy. That's what they're telling people. You have countries like Japan that is zero. Literally subsidizing. And you're doing it 25%, right? Yeah, Chuka, don't call me to these sort of things again. You have a bankrupt government that borrows to survive. So it pays the banks 18%. So the banks have no incentive to do anything. They just sit down there. I mean, if Mugu no fall, guy man no go chop. They sit down there, get 18% for doing nothing. Most bank MDs fly jets. Who would blame them? The government is paying. Why would they borrow money to Donald Duke then have to run after him after a while, and I'll start, renegotiating and all that? And no, the government will pay. All these fancy figures, we have pension funds, 5 trillion. It's a lie. That money the government uses every day to pay salaries. The oil that I saw the stuff on oil. It only accounts for about 8% of our GDP. But guess what? It's easy money to collect, so the government just sits on it. There are other sectors, but government is not imaginative enough or creative enough to generate revenue from activities of other sectors like agriculture and all that. So, and the nonsense about it is that we, the folks from the Niger Delta, now feel that we're tough. We only account for only 8% of the GDP. And oil is only relevant to us to the extent that it provides foreign exchange. Then another stupid thing we do, we judge our management of the economy on our ability to keep the exchange rate low. So if the exchange rate today happens to be 100 naira to $1, this is the best government that has ever happened. Well, guess what? It's the reverse. You judge your economy on the amount of jobs you create and not on the affordability of exchange rate. Because the cheaper the exchange rate, the more silly you become. You send your children, we send our children abroad, right? Which in fact is a terrible thing, because I think until the child gets to 18, incubate the child here, right? But that's another story. You're not worried about, we the elites are not worried about the quality of education back home because we are able to pay fees abroad. We have, our hip pains us, we run to Harley Street somewhere to go and, we're literally supporting industries abroad, right? You need an exchange rate that, yes, you import because you're a developing economy, but at the same time affords you the ability to export. Exports create jobs. Import creates jobs, but guess what? Not at home, abroad. So all our indices are wrong.